So this is our project, a TA of a Fucoidan extraction, if you will. Just to give a brief overview here, I'll talk about the process and what kind of, or some of the calculations we arrived at. Then Ignacio will talk about some of the economics like pricing in the market and some of the financial analysis. We have some models or some projections we made with like net present value and profitability over a 10-year time frame in mind. And then we have some results and further recommendations. So yeah, we have done a TA, a techno-economical analysis on a fucoidan extraction, or more specifically, a citric acid extraction of this thing, the structure you can see on the top right, which is fucoidan, a carbohydrate found in Ascophyllum nodosum, which is a type of brown seaweed found in northern Norway, which the fucoidan is used in like pharmaceuticals and cosmetics and has anti-inflammatory properties, anti-cancerous properties to some extent, and can provide like health benefits. Is sold as a supplement in many parts of the world. We've done this in cooperation with a company called the Polar Algae, which is a startup operating out of northern Norway, operating out of Hammerfest, to be specific, where they harvest and process algae. So just a little bit about our process. You can see the diagram here. We start at R1. It's our batch reactor where the citric acid extraction happens, which we assume, or in dialogue with the company, we assume we already have the dried product, the dried uh, algae, because they've already harvested it, the fresh seaweed from the ocean, and they've already done the drying. So we start here in R1 with about 70 kilos of dry algae, 600 liters of solvent, and then the rest of the sizing was chosen to like accommodate this type of scale. So over in Z1, we have a decanting centrifuge, and then further down, we have like a clarification, purification process with a centrifugal separator in Z2, and then we have a precipitation tank at T2, which we precipitate with sulfuric acid, and then further on we did a ultrafiltration, which actually filters out the fucoidan and other large like carbohydrates, which is where we get some of the usable byproduct like mannitol. Before in D1 it's spray dried into powder. You can go to the next slide. There we go. And just here you can see some of our calculations on like extraction rate and the composition before the last step, before the ultrafiltration. And we had to assume some things because of missing data, like the extraction rates, the liquid content, and like the degree of separation. So we have like the product amount being estimated. We found a correlation for the produced product amount as a function of the extraction rate, which is what we used in the economical and the financial analysis.
So in this section, we provide analysis of the current market. Market segmentation and industries of fucoidan can be categorized by type, as shown on the pie chart on the left. There are two prominent types, powder and capsules. Powder types offer versatility in dosing, while capsules have a precise dosing and seem to be more practical. The second segmentation is by application, which consists of fucoidan encapsulated in gelatin or vegetarian capsules for the pharmaceutical industry or dietary supplements. The current targeted industry of polar algae is the cosmetics industry, but this analysis also provides valuable insights for future insertion in the supplement industry. For the pricing, we conducted multiple price comparisons of different purities and qualities. The selection of a subset of fucoidan manufacturers for this analysis has been done meticulously The decision to compare the price of Masuku Focoiden was based on several criteria, since this Focoiden has a very strong patented extraction method, rigorous quality standards on a global market, and it also has a high content of Focoiden. The main manufacturer of this type of Focoiden is Kanahide Bio. We also analyze Sigma Aldrich, since it has a strong presence in Europe and high credibility amongst the scientific community. Vitamondo is a uniquely close competitor to Polar Algae, since it's operating in the Scandinavian market and is also selling 50% for pure Focoiden as well as Polar Algae. We can see on the table that there is a Asia Pacific dominance in the market, which reflects the reality of this product, since traditionally and culturally the Asian market is more developed and they are also world leaders in research. We can see that it's evident that when the purity increases, the price does as well. And we also realize that when some properties are attached to the product, for instance, the powder being in pellets, the prices goes up as well. And there are no clear national suppliers in Norway. So we have to analyze the European market. As you can see, the European market share on the left. And for the market entry strategy, we tried to analyze the market growth. We found out that a market growth of $87 million is expected by 2030 for the European market. There are three main factors that collectively shape the demand of the Focoiden in various industries. These factors being the increasing consumer awareness of health and wellness, the ongoing research on Focoiden, and also the demand for organic products, which is also increasing. There are several key testings that the company should perform, like GMP, Good Manufacturing Practice, and HACCP, Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Points, which will help the company to obtain key labels such as EcoCert. This EcoCert, the one below. This certifies that products as organic and environmentally friendly. Green Seal, it signifies that the products meet rigorous environmental standards. Fair Trade certified, it ensures that the products are sourced ethically and support fair wages. Mobilux, that which certifies that the product's packaging is recyclable. Carbon Trust, it certifies that the production has been done by using renewable energy sources. All these labels will improve the image of the company, especially in the European market. Then we will go to the financial analysis model. For this model, we did a model for a 10 years time frame, which includes the capital expenditures, CAPEX, and the operational expenditures, OPEX. CAPEX consists of ISBL, inside battery limits. Prices for water and electricity are assumed with data available online. The price of electricity is taken as a constant amount, but fluctuations in electricity costs are often present, especially during the fall and winter in Norway. Price of rent is taken from the limited available rent space that was found in the Finnmark area, and a projection of a 10-year period allows the financial viability to have several cases simulated in this analysis. We also assume a bank interest of 20%, and we play on several factors such as different extraction rates, different purities, and different numbers of batches. So 4 different models were presented, varying in time from return on investment, ROI, and some changes in prices. In case 1, in this case, a market entry price of 400 kroner per kilogram has been taken, which is linearly increased over 5 years to 1,200 kroner per kilogram. Then case 2, we use the same settings as the previous case, but the linear price increase is calculated in a way that the cumulative cash flow is 0 after 5 years. In case 3, the settings are identical to the second case, but the accumulated cash flow is set to be 0 after 5 years. Case 4, the starting price in the first year is set to be 800 kroner per kilogram and increases exponentially over 10 years to 7,663.5 kroner per kilogram. As you can see on screen, we projected the revenue projections of case 4, since we found that case 4 seems to be the most realistic of the ones that turn into profit. Price is a substantial factor in the profitability of this process, which lead us to the conclusions. We found that there is a rising demand in Europe, since Europe is farther is a bit far behind in the game of fucoidan production. We also found that the higher the purity, the exponential the price. So we found that having the capacity of producing a highly pure fucoidan in the future will be beneficial for the company. We also found that the profitability will also improve when the company will scale up. And we also found that the byproducts can be further processed to have some extra value, like for instance, alginate. Alginate, if we could add some extra processing in our process to add some value to alginate, it's a very sought after product in the chemical industry. We have some recommendations, more investigation on processing of the byproducts, such as alginate, polyphenols, and so on. We also recommend to add ultrasound, since ultrasound can help to break the cell walls from the algae. So that will fasten the process, as well as adding calcium-based precipitation. This is also going to fasten the process when we need to precipitate the alginate. And freeze drying seems to be practical and economical for drying the algae. We also suggest more lab scale experiments in polar algae, since we have been relying too much on literature, and there's not enough experimental data out there. And we also recommend post-processing of the end product to increase value, since there are some products out there that only by adding bioavailability on the label increase their price by 3 times, just by adding some tiny properties. And we also recommend scaling up in the process and more research on that. Thank you for your attention.